Hello children, welcome back. Today we will start a new chapter, that is chapter number 2, memory and storage. So in this chapter we are going to learn about the computer storage in bits and bytes and type of internal memory. So let us begin. First we will start with bits and bytes. So a computer can understand only two states, that is on, and it is represented by 1, and off, that is represented by 0. Okay, so if you go through this figure you can see that 1 is represented as on and 0 is represented as off. So the program that are designed by the programmer are in the high level language, okay, that is using alphabets, mathematical symbols, and some special symbol. Now we know that the computer does not understand anything other than 0 and 1. So all these things need to be converted into 0 and 1 so that the computer can understand. Okay. Now these two digits, that is 0 and 1, are called binary digits or bits. Okay. Now where do we store our clothes? Definitely we store our clothes in the cupboard. We store our vegetables in the refrigerator. So similarly, a computer needs to store the data. Okay. Now where will computer store the data? Computer will store the data in a computer memory and in the form of a bits. Okay. And these bits are measured in a form of a byte. Now if you see the figure here, you can see all the characters and their equivalent binary code. Okay. Because I have already said that the computer does not understand anything other than 0 and 1. So whatever the instruction you give in the high level language, everything has to be converted into the machine code, that is 0 and 1. Now 1 bit is equal to 8 bits is equal to 1 byte. So we call this as a bit, 1 as a bit, 0 as a bit. So you can see that there are 8 bits are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this 8 bits is equal to 1 byte. Okay. Now measuring memory. Okay. So how do we measure a vegetable? We measure a vegetable using a kilogram. We measure our clothes using a meter. Okay. Similarly, the data in the computers are measured using bytes. Okay. So as we have already learned that 8 bits is equal to 1 byte. So you can see here in this figure some of the measuring units, that like say 8 bits is equal to 1 byte, 1024 bytes is equal to 1 kilobyte, 1024 kilobytes is equal to 1 megabytes, 1024 megabytes is equal to 1 gigabytes, followed by terabytes, petabyte, exabyte, zettabytes. Means the storage capacity of the memory, it goes on and on. Okay, so you can also see here that 1 bit is equal to 0 or 1, as I have already said. So 1 nibble is equal to 4 bits. And you can say 8 bits is equal to 1 byte. So similarly, it goes on and on. Okay. Now we know that every computer has certain amount of the storage capacity, that is memory. The memory capacity determines how data and instruction can be stored in the computer. So we can say that the memory of the computer is divided into two parts. One is, we call it as a primary memory or main memory, or you may also call it as an internal memory. And another is secondary memory, or you can also call it as an external memory or auxiliary memory. Okay. So primary memory is again divided into two parts. One is RAM and another is ROM. Now there are two types of RAM, that is random access memory. One is SRAM. So we call it as a static random access memory. So it has a lower access time, means we can quickly work on it. So they are faster and expensive. Another is DRAM, that is dynamic random access memory. It has higher access time, that is why it is slow and less expensive. Now let us see ROM. ROM means read-only memory. Okay, so it is non-volatile. As we go further with the content, I'll explain you what non-volatile actually is. So there are three types of ROM, that is PROM, EPROM and EEPROM. Now you can see that ROM, the manufacturing company, they already programmed the ROM so that they can do their particular work. Okay, so that is why we call it as a programmable read-only memory. And another is EPROM, that is erasable programmable read-only memory. Means if the ROM has the capacity to erase its program, then we call it as a EPROM. Another is EEPROM, that is electrically erasable programmable read-only memory, where the program in the ROM can be erased electrically. Okay, now the secondary memories are some of the external memories. We can also call it as an auxiliary memory. So hard disk drive, solid state drive, compact discs, floppy disks, magnetic tapes. This comes on the secondary storage memory or secondary memory. So today we will go through the primary memory, that is RAM and ROM. Okay, now first is random access memory. Now this is the figure of a RAM, and this is the one RAM attached in the motherboard. So RAM means random access memory, and RAM is it can be directly accessed by the CPU because it is a primary memory, and all the activities that we do in our computers are done by a RAM. Okay, it is also known as a volatile memory. Why volatile memory? Because it loses its content when the power is turned on. Means the data are stored in the RAM as long as we are working on the RAM. So once we turn off the machines or once we turn off the power, what happens? The data that are stored in the RAM are lost. Okay, so RAM is the fastest and costliest memory of a computer. The storage capacity of the RAM is high. Okay, so we can also call it as a read-write memory because in this memory we can read as well as we can write this memory. Now next is ROM, or a read-only memory. Now the data that is stored in the ROM cannot be modified or it cannot be erased. So that is why we call it as a read-only memory. That is, it can only be read. Okay, now ROM is an inbuilt software, that it is not for our use. Just as the RAM, it is for our use, but ROM is not for our use. Okay, it is for the use of the computer. So it is the manufacturing company that programmed the ROM to do a particular work permanently. Okay, so these are some of the figures of a ROM here. It holds the startup instruction that prepare a computer for use. So I have already said that it is the manufacturing company that programmed the ROM to do a particular work, okay, permanently, right from starting of the machines to look the overall functioning of the CPU. It is also known as non-volatile memory. Why non-volatile memory? Because even when the power is turned off, the data stored in the ROM does not get erased. Okay, means it retains its content even when the power is turned off. The capacity of the ROM is comparatively smaller than the RAM. It has both the features of the primary memory as well as secondary memory. Now we have gone through the features of the RAM as well as the features of the ROM. So let us quickly see the difference between the RAM and a ROM. So RAM is known as a volatile memory, whereas ROM is known as a non-volatile memory. It loses its content when the power is turned off. Means as long as you are working, the data are stored in the random access memory. As the power is turned off, the data get lost, but in the ROM it retains its content even when the power is turned off. RAM is the fastest and costliest memory of the computer. ROM is slower and cheaper than the RAM. Okay. Now you can see that the storage capacity of the RAM is higher as compared to the ROM, and the capacity of ROM is comparatively smaller than the RAM. Okay, so in this video we have learned about the memory, about the data. We have learned about the bit and byte, and the features of the RAM and ROM. So hope you have understood it. Kindly go through this video and revise it at home. So in the next class we will go through the secondary memory. Okay, so this is all in today's video. Thank you, children.